Hi ladies, thank you so much for joining us for our second Pivoting in Heels virtual happy hour. We've got Sandra Hudson from Trust Bank, Arizona, and we've got Kimber Lanning from Local First, Arizona. And they're so excited to share with you business success stories and strategies for pivoting your business. So sit back, enjoy, pour a drink, and have a great time.
Thank you, Stephanie. One of the things we're going to be doing, hopefully you'll, jump in and we'll have some questions out there, or shoot your questions into Stephanie and she will get them up on the screen for us to talk about. And so I just wanted to say welcome again, everybody. And I just wanted to reintroduce myself again, Sandra Hudson. I'm the CEO of Trust and Wealth Management for Trust Bank and the president of Trust Bank, Arizona. This great idea that we've had around pivoting in heels and helping women really is the genesis of a lifetime of my passion professionally and business-wise of helping women, educating women, networking and working together. So our last one, we had Megan Johnson, and it was so great learning about the different generations and how we're going to work together. And now we're going off into a really great segment, which is on working with business owners and working in this COVID environment. How are we pivoting our businesses, or how can we pivot more of our businesses? And just great ideas. Share some ideas. If you have ideas, send them in. But I wanted to introduce Kimber Lanning from Local First, Arizona. If anybody knows enough about what businesses are doing, how they're moving around, what resources are available to them, and really know some of the success stories that are happening out there, it would be Kimber Lanning with Local First Arizona. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Kimber, and tell us a little bit about your organization and yourself.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here with you today. As you mentioned, I do work with small businesses all day, every day. That's what we do. So Local First Arizona is a nonprofit organization. We're actually the largest local business coalition in North America, and we have a wide variety of things that we do that help build a more vibrant and fair, frankly, Arizona economy. When we talk about diversity in the economy, how important it is, just like you would diversify your portfolio of investments, we want all of us to diversify our spending dollars. And that means supporting Arizona's homegrown companies as a strategy to keep more dollars recirculating in Arizona's economy.
Oh.
Yeah, so we don't think about it very often, but local business keeps more dollars recirculating in Arizona's economy. When you hire, you spend $50 at a local business, they in turn have the cost of doing business, so they hire local graphic designers or website developers or payroll service providers, and that keeps dollars and jobs moving through the economy. So it really does matter. Every dollar counts.
Right, and that happens everywhere across the country.
That's exactly right. We've done multiple economic studies that have showed 3 times more money stays in the local economy when you choose just simply to get a local haircut, get a local oil change, choose Hickman's eggs at the grocery store, whatever that might be. They're a longtime Arizona company, we grew up on the west side, and so super.
Where my husband's from too.
Oh yeah. We're an old Glendale. We're an old Glendale family. So, but really, it's every dollar counts. I just remind people of that. Your dollars sit silently in your pocket all day, every day, until you decide to spend them, and then it has a very loud boom, a voice about how you're spending on the future that you want to see.
Well, that's amazing. So what we'd like to focus on today is really working in this environment. What can business owners do to pivot, shift, maybe do business a little bit differently, to get some more of those dollars out of our pockets to help
That's
business?
Right.
And a lot of businesses are, it's kind of a tough go right now.
Sure.
And how do we help them, women business owners specifically here, how do we help them make those either slight little shifts or changes that maybe will modify their business somewhat, or the way they're doing business, or delivering their services,
Right.
and that sort of thing. So would you share a story with us?
I'd love to. And I want to preface it by also saying, people oftentimes mistakenly think that I'm suggesting people should go local because they feel sorry for local businesses, which makes me crazy, right? We need to go local because local's better, and relationships actually matter. And knowing people, you're in the banking industry, and banks are one of the ways you should really have a strong relationship with your banker. And the PPP experience we all just had reminded us of that, right? Know your local banker, and those businesses that had that relationship fared much better than those businesses that had no relationship with their bank.
Right, I can vouch for that. Trust Bank is a very long history, over 100 years, that sort of thing. But we're really a smaller bank,
right?
And so I can tell you, we received so many phone calls from people saying, or clients referring their friends to us because we were able to deliver on those PPP funds much faster and a lot less hassle than other large banks. And I'm not dishing large banks. I'm just saying they were so inundated with hundreds and thousands of requests where we could be a little more nimble, quick, be a little more customized, and get things done for people a little faster.
Well, you're also committed to Arizona's economy, whereas a big bank, no fault, but they're not committed to Arizona's economy, right? And they're committed to their shareholders and other such things that may or may not be in Arizona. So we have worked with a wide variety of businesses, and first and foremost, we're helping them stay competitive, and that's the most important part. We need to earn the dollars, and so small businesses broadly, there are sectors that are booming right now. So manufacturing, housing, tech, they're doing very well right now. But when you say small business, generally the average person thinks of mom and pop, and so that's your restaurant and retail, or your service providers, right? The people that are actually delivering the work, or professional services, the stylists and other such things. Those industries are hurting. They're getting pummeled, and so I'm going to focus some of my remarks primarily on them because they need the help right now. So, a couple of different examples. We have Kate Tanner, who owns Kids Stop Toys in Scottsdale. And again, they hung their hats on customer service for years. And if you can compete in toys, you're good, right? So many people, we went through the Toys R Us, and then Walmart, and now Amazon, and she's been through the ringer, right? And she's hanging in there, one best toy retailer in America, right here on Shea, right? Great. And so now she was like, what am I gonna do? I always was able to take my customers in the door, and I knew, not only their kids, their grandkids, right? I knew what their preferences were. I knew what kind of toys the family liked to give. And what do I do with all that knowledge now that I can't comfortably bring people into the store, in the immediacy of the shutdown? Well, she transitioned all of her personalized shopping to FaceTime. So now she has extra phones for her employees. They get their customers on FaceTime. They actually go out on the floor and they walk you through a toy. How does it work? What are we doing? And you're shopping, so you get the personalized touch, but also to see it, in the immediacy. Right. And then it's a touchless pickup or delivery. So that has really helped her. And she says, even through the tough times, she was still doing 85% of her typical sales, completely not having anyone in the store at all. So the moral of the story here is leverage technology. Technology is your friend. So we need to get out there, get familiar with what tools are out there. Don't be afraid to customize tools to suit your business, and make sure that you're leveraging, especially the free stuff that's out there, to make sure you can use it to the best of your ability. Educate, inform. There's classes you can take, for people who may not be as comfortable with technology. Jump right in, because that is going to help your business stay competitive.
That's amazing. Well, just like what we're doing today. You know, we really were holding, you know, a lot of women in wealth and, you know, luncheons and events and things like that. It's just not possible anymore right now.
That's right.
So we, you know, we had to get creative and think, well, how can we still reach women and how can we help them in working in this environment? And so we came up with this great idea, and there's a lot of people doing this now, but I can tell you it was a little awkward. I was a little uncomfortable. We're like, we're gonna film this, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, we're used to being in front of people, all of us,
Sure.
you and I are, but this is just a little different using this technology, and I love the idea that they are bringing the clients in and FaceTiming or, you know, doing some sort of a video virtual shopping experience.
Right.
I love that.
So important. And I actually just had a similar experience with a yoga shop up in Sedona. My mother lives in Sedona, had given me a gift that actually didn't fit. I mailed it back to them, and they said, call us and we'll help you find something else. And they took me on FaceTime out on the floor and helped as well. I will also just underscore social media for business has been critical. Those businesses that had a strong social media following have been able to hold on to their customer base better than those that didn't. So really putting yourself out there, your personality, becoming the face of your store via social media has been, you know, it is the make or break of how you hang on to your, because if you lose your customer right now and they end up on Amazon, it is going to be next to impossible to get them back. So the goal is, don't let them get into the habit of Amazon. Make sure you're there going, we're here. Don't lose track of them. I mean, you're hanging onto their ankle, right? Just don't lose track of them. Because once they fall into the abyss, that is the habit changing Amazon, you've lost them. And so, and I bring that up because those women that are watching that aren't retailers, but that are shopping on Amazon, remember, you're a small business too, and you're trying to hang on to your customer. So remember, please, that the retailers are women just like us, and they are business owners who've put their lives into their small business just like me and you.
Yeah, and I love that. I do notice that I'm on the internet a lot. I have to say I resist Amazon.
All
Sorry,
right.
Amazon lovers. It's not that I don't love it, but I do try to resist that and go to stores and, you know, local locations, and, you know, even maybe a few larger ones. I do like Chico's. I have to say that, but I try to resist Amazon, and that's kind of what it was. It's like I'm kind of that, you know, there's a place and time, but you're right. And purpose for that, but I like to shop more local, and some of the larger box stores even, I kind of resisted doing that, trying to support our local businesses, because I felt like for some of them, they were kind of pushing out our local businesses who had supported us and are so much a part of every economy every city that we live in.
Right. You know, I'll tell you, I was giving a talk one time, and it was a conference of graphic design companies. And right up in the front row, I had been talking about the importance of supporting local businesses because they in turn support other local businesses. And I had a woman in the front row, and she hit herself in the forehead, you know, smack. I could actually hear it. And I
Like
said, oh my
purpose?
gosh, yeah. I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah. She said, I own a graphic design firm, and I used to have 7 employees. And today I have 5, and it looks like tomorrow I'm going to have 4.
Wow.
And it never occurred to me until right now that I've been spending my money with companies that will never hire me. I need to get out there and support those companies that might need a graphic designer. She had been spending all of her money on Amazon, and meanwhile out here trying to grow her graphic design firm.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way, because let me tell you, if you own a 7-person graphic design firm, Amazon is not going to be hiring you, nor are the other big stores that aren't headquartered here, right? And it just hit her like a ton of bricks. I've got to change my spending patterns in order to make sure there's a robust Arizona economy that can then in turn hire my graphic design firm. So we become, that's it, we become disconnected from how the economy actually works.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here as well, is supporting and helping each other as women. In this particular segment, we're talking about women business owners, on how we can help each other tackle some of these issues and challenges we have, or come up with ideas and help support each other. So I love that you've joined us today. I've got a question here that's come in.
Sure.
That maybe we could talk about. What are some challenges small businesses are facing that people are not aware of?
You know, one of the things, and again, there are many different types of small businesses, but speaking about retail, how many different ways people need to be paying. So this doesn't sound like a big deal. But used to be, you paid cash,
right,
or you came in and you paid by a credit card. You know, maybe there were people are shopping online. There's money coming in now from PayPal and Zelle and Unit, Venmo. And so that means you have to really change your bookkeeping system. And a lot of people don't necessarily think about this, but you've got money coming in from all these different directions, and you've got to figure out how to balance the books at the end of the night and get that information over to your bookkeeper. I know with my little business, I now have 3 different websites going on. We put up all of our used stuff on Discogs. We put our new stuff over here on Big Cartel. Plus, we have our Stinkweeds website. We got money coming in from 6 different ways.
3 different
pickups,
businesses, all over. Yeah.
Delivery, trying to keep it all straight. I mean, the inside of my store looks like a bomb went off.
Right.
We're not open to the public. It's by appointment only.
Yeah.
But we find ourselves just cramming all the stacks of stuff in the corners, because our whole business model has changed.
Got it.
And we have no cash. Nobody's paying in cash.
All this, just a bunch of transactions moving around, right?
That's right.
All right, yeah, and I'm certainly aware of that as a banker. And then also the cost of those things too. It has an impact on your profit.
2.5% is out the door before I even touch it. And so that's a big number. And we weren't banking on that. I mean, especially when you have razor thin margins, like in my industry, I'm marking things up 15% to start. And now I got 2% going out the door just in credit card fees. I mean, my credit card fees have quadrupled.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are costs to doing business that way. So as well. So the more we can help support our small businesses, it helps them tremendously.
Bring cash.
And bring cash. As a bank, we have lots of cash, so you could always come down and get cash. And I know a lot of people aren't using that, and it is convenience. And in this environment, a lot of people can't necessarily come in, right?
And now we have a shortage of coins,
That's right, we have coins. I was kind of convinced that was because people didn't want to deal with coins and lots of people touching it, but there is a shortage.
There is,
of coins. So, but we have plenty of cash. If you need any cash, let us know. But that's the cost of doing business that I think a lot of people don't realize that businesses are challenged with. And to your point about when you do have increased costs, what do you have to do? You have to balance your bottom line. So as a business owner where maybe sales are reducing, perhaps costs are moving up a little bit, how do you, as a business owner, you've really got 2 options. You have to increase prices or you have to reduce expenses. I mean, in some situations to kind of, what you say, like manage or fit the business to the environment you're in today. So, that's unfortunate, but it's kind of a reality these days too. To help business, are there resources that you're aware of for business owners who are trying to figure out how to make that right sizing work in this environment today?
Sure, there are programs through the Small Business Development Center, certainly at Local First Arizona. We're offering one-on-one coaching, consulting, and services. We have a restaurant boot camp that we've developed that really specifically helps restaurants manage their food costs, which, if you ever show up at a restaurant and they give you a 17-page menu, you can pretty much be sure that they're not profitable, because nobody can have that much overhead in food. We need to look for ways to streamline a menu, cut the overhead costs, reduce food waste at the same time. And that really has helped, right level several restaurants that they've been hit harder than anyone.
I know.
Truly hit harder than anyone.
Yeah, it's been really tough. I try to support them as much as possible.
Yes, dine out.
Because I don't cook. So, so it's up to my husband, or we eat out. So, so we try to do that. I found them to be pretty safe when you're out there. I think they use some really good sanitation. There's lots of social distancing. I would encourage everyone to to go out and kind of support your restaurants.
Even if you're picking up and taking home,
Yeah.
staying safe that way, it's so important to support our restaurants. They are the face of our community. And so get out there, and if you can, if you're privileged enough to be able to do that, please go out and support those restaurants. And I don't know if I've not gone out in a long time, but recently went out, and speaking of technology, again with the touchless menus, the resurgence of the QR code and being able to snap the photo, you're not touching anything, peruse the menu that way. It's a really neat experience.
They're doing a lot of that. I actually just had that happen this week the first time.
Right.
I'm like, well, where's the menu? They go, you have to look on your app and then you scan this. And I was like, so for someone who's maybe a little more experienced in age, it's sometimes a challenge to go, now what do I do? Push what?
Right.
And so people help you, but once you get the hang of it a couple times or once or twice, it's really nice. And then even things like when they serve your meal, of course everybody's wearing masks and everything. There's no salt or pepper or anything at the table.
Right.
So you have to ask for that, and they'll bring you like a little individualized servings. They have come up with some really creative ways to make things safe for us, as safe as possible.
And we've seen them also working on the family-style meals to go, ways that they can cut costs. So, preparing meals for 4, 6 person family is been a real lifesaver for a lot of the restaurants as well. Yeah.
That's a great idea. So what's another great idea or somebody else you can tell us about that's been successful recently?
Sure. A couple of different ones that I can tell you. One is a real estate agent that took on helping people get ready to leave their homes. You know how it's always the mad dash to get everything clean. You feel like you got to leave. She takes all of that on. So if you list your home with her, she manages the last minute landscaping, cleaning, everything else. And I thought, what a clever way to win over new clients as a realtor, to just take off that little bit. I mean, it's stressful enough moving during a pandemic, and now she's come on to say, hey, I'll take care of that for you.
And I thought that was, I guess I would say it's kind of surprising to me that so many people are moving. But I just heard, like yesterday, new home sales were up like 59% or something.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of us who are moving to different locations, buying housing. You have to move. How do you do that safely? So yeah, to have somebody come in and said, hey, I'll get it all taken care of and cleaned up and staged for you, or whatever you might need to do.
That is just a relief, a huge relief.
So great, yeah.
Another example, retailers that took on a subscription service. So Changing Hands Bookstore, Cindy Dash, the owner there, they did a book lovers bundle. So one of the things that they noticed, which I just think this is so smart, they had a lot of knickknacks and small items that were point of sale. You might buy a funny eraser for your granddaughter or something like that at the checkout line.
You don't go in to buy that, but you found it. It's like, oh, that's cute.
And then when you're just shopping online with them, those sales just came to a screeching halt. You're not going to sell the onesie twosie eraser by somebody just randomly picking it up online. So they put together these book bundles, and so you give them the theme, and they help you shop online, and then they're, for an extra $5, we'll send you a bundle of cool additional stuff and swag, if you will. And it helped them move that inventory, and even though they weren't getting full retail, at least they're moving it and getting it out the door. And it's a treat that, again, in the middle of a pandemic, you're expecting a few books, and for $5 you got 10 cool little things. And so that was another cool example of how they're maximizing the per person sale. It's that last minute, add an extra $5 and it's a grab bag.
Yeah, I love a treasure hunt, or I love getting surprises.
Yeah, that's it.
Really
that's
fun.
It, right?
It's really fun.
And it really boosts, just every little dollar counts.
It does.
I know at my little store, we started doing subscription services. So for $50 a month for 3 months, we send you records in the mail, and you have to fill out a questionnaire about what kind of music you like, and we make sure that you don't already have the record.
Right.
But again, people who love the store wanted to support the store. They were excited to get a record of the month. Remember in the old days when we used to have those services where you'd sign up and you'd get a record of the month, and so that worked well to get the dollars in advance, which helped breathe some life into it.
And you can kind of depend on it as kind of recurring revenue, right?
That's it.
And for the most part, and then people get some interesting, and maybe they'll try some things they might not thought of purchasing before,
that's our hope, is that they start trusting us as advisors way better than the Amazon people who bought this like this. You actually have the personal person who's going to call you and say, hey, did you check this out? Have you heard this yet?
Right.
And based on what we know you like, I have people that moved away years ago that still send me $50 a month and say, send me what you think I'd like. Yeah, because they know I know their taste. So.
Oh, that's the big differentiator. But you need to come up with these little differentiators that will really set you apart from these big box or Amazon if you're a small business owner. I think that is just ingenious that you come up with that.
Yeah.
And we do the same thing at the bank for where our lobbies are still closed. I mean, for the most part, we're there, and we are sort of more of a boutique-y private wealth kind of group. But we still do all of these things for our clients and can do them, number one, because we have a relationship with them. We already know them, so they can call us or text us or say, hey, I've got this challenge, and we can just kind of take care of things for them, or do concierge deliveries, or just do webinars or do a WebEx with them to find out what they might need. But knowing who your client is and who your customers are, and if you can tweak things a little bit to entice them, I think that's just going to make all the difference in the world for you small business owners.
Our saying has become relationships matter most.
Oh, and I love that idea.
It just matters. And people want to do business with people they know. They want to do business where they feel safe. And so if you're a business owner, reach out to every person that you've done business with in the last 2 years. Just say hello. I've got a great example of an insurance guy who just sends out a little gift. For me, for our sustaining members, those are people who give us a set amount every month as a donation. I've taken to calling up Proof Bread. You can go right online and order, and they will deliver. So an $8 loaf of sourdough or some blueberry muffins delivered right to the home of somebody that's contributing regularly to your organization goes a long way. That level
Stephanie, write
of
that
service.
down. Start doing some more of that.
It really goes
Stephanie
a
likes
long
blueberry
way.
muffins.
And then Proof Bread, they're local. They're in the middle of the pandemic. The city of Phoenix is causing them to have to relocate.
Okay.
So they were doing a GoFundMe, and I was like, I'm just going to order a bunch of great bread, from fresh baked loaf of bread delivered to the home.
Yeah.
That's right. And so it kills two birds with one stone, and it's really put a smile on a lot of people's faces.
That is great. And we could use some smiles today.
Oh, yeah.
In our world and where we're at.
That's
so
right.
anything we can do to make people's life easier, simpler, taste a little better,
That's right.
is just a great thing. And speaking of, one of the things that you might not be aware of is that a resource I think that you should consider in this environment is you're looking at maybe perhaps reduced revenues or costs. You need to do things like that. Just kind of paying the rent, things like that in your small business. I would encourage you to have them reach out to their banker, because we have many banks are very open to either deferring some payments or not having you pay interest or reduced payments, something like that. Of course, the PPP loans were fabulous, and certainly for banks like our size, really helped people out, but everywhere. And by the way, we need some more. So come on, Congress.
Come
Let's
on,
get
Congress.
going.
Come on, get with it.
Let's get with the program. We've even done some things like, even if you are making it, you're not like in financial trouble in the sense like you're going to default. You might say, hey, this would help my cash flow if maybe I could restructure a little bit my loan, or make the term a little longer, or reduce the rates. Rates have fallen. I hate to say that because I'm a banker, But everybody run to your bank and say, I need a lower rate.
It's true.
But all those things, like you say, every dollar counts. So talking to your banker and saying, hey, are there some options? You know, I'm affording the payments and things, but you know, overall expenses and with a little bit reduced income, revenue coming into the business, is there a way that you could work with me or get a little bit creative with me to help me figure out a way to increase, my costs on that side of the fence for a little while we all kind of recover from this.
Right.
So that's an option you should all definitely take a look at.
I'm glad you brought that up because we have several businesses that, they may be making their rent, so it doesn't occur to them they could still be doing even better and use that money for technology investments, some other investments. So you really want to ratchet down your costs wherever you can. And we just got done managing a grant for the state of Arizona, $10 million for small independent businesses specifically to pay their rent. Now, I think that this is a brilliant strategy from the governor's office. We're going to see massive challenges in commercial and office space.
Yeah, I think we may.
And our goal was to pay the landlord and reward them for keeping the small business in place.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we paid 2 months' rent, including the CAMs, triple net, the whole thing. And we gave the money to the business owner. They had to sign a contract that they would pay their rent with it, and then they have to prove that they paid their rent with it. But it helps the landlord that keeps the business in place. And so we have just, been on the phone with close to 900 businesses that we were able to help through that program.
That's amazing.
Pretty remarkable.
Really great, really great. I think there was also some additional funds that were available for businesses that were particularly hard hit or were still shut down, like sports clubs and things like that you helped disseminate.
That's
some
right.
funds
Yeah,
through.
we did Series 6 and 7 liquor licenses, so bars. And that's including sports bars, live music venues, and all of those wine bars, tasting rooms, those types of things. And then gyms and fitness centers, movie theaters, specifically the ones that were shut down with Executive Order 2020-43.
Yeah.
So, the governor came back and distributed those funds in a good faith effort to try to keep those businesses
Keep them
afloat.
intact, keep the employees there.
That's right.
So, so obviously this was distributed through your organization, but I'm imagining there were similar funds, or are similar funds available to businesses around the country. I'm not sure. Probably each state would be slightly different. Where might someone go to see if there are any funds available, or hopefully when we get some more funding, where would they go if they're not necessarily in Arizona?
Sure.
Where's a good place to look to find
think
opportunities?
Google just grant relief or COVID grant relief and your state. And that will bring, I know here in Arizona, it'll bring up the Maricopa County grants, the other grants that, Pima County has a grant available. There's nonprofits, small business. And here we had Mesa, Scottsdale, Gilbert. We even helped tiny little towns like Somerton and Superior. And their councils came up with $100,000, $150,000 to put into the kitty to help their small businesses. And those are tiny little towns. Those are big numbers for a town that only has 8,000 people in it. And so we were able to really get dollars into the hands of their small businesses as well.
Hey, Stephanie, I noticed there was a question up there, but it's gone now. I wanted to make sure we got to that.
Right here.
But if you are, no matter where you are in the country, there are, you're right, like nonprofits. I think that Arizona Women's Community the Community Foundation, or the Arizona Community Foundation, have lots of funds available for different organizations and different groups. So,
as a woman-owned business, there are extra bonus points for you as well.
That's true.
So please don't hesitate to raise your hand and say that. So one of the things I wanted to chat about was this concept of the multiplier effect.
Oh yes,
a lot of
I love
folks
that.
don't necessarily think about where their money goes when they're spending it. And I came up with this idea to visualize it at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm kind of a crazy person that way.
Do you ever
Never.
sleep? No, yeah, I didn't think so.
And so this idea is, if you think about buying a latte at Starbucks, and then you ask yourself,
Guilty.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know, and one thing you'll notice about Local First is we always like to celebrate what people do. You know, you're a community banker.
Right.
You probably go to a local salon.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah, there's plenty of things you do. So.
I do a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I have been found to be at Starbucks.
So Starbucks to me is the best chain out there, and I have two reasons for that. One, they pay for the health care of their employees.
They do.
And that is valuable. So think about this: other big chains that don't pay the health care of their employees, those employees end up on the state health care plan, and then we're all paying for that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So here they've saved on their biggest expense, and they've passed that expense over onto the back of the taxpayers, and we're still buying stuff like it's cheap, but it's costing us a fortune in a different way.
That's right, in a different way.
Right?
I think they also provide a lot of educational support.
They
for
sure
their
do,
employees.
right?
Yeah.
And they don't demand subsidies. You know, Starbucks doesn't come into town and
Yeah.
say, pay us to be here. You know,
Yeah.
Cabela's over in Glendale, they got a $68 million subsidy.
Wow.
And that, again, is money that was earmarked for parks and libraries and
Right.
fire departments
Right, in
and
our
other such
community.
things, right? Starbucks doesn't do that, but still, if you buy a latte there, they have the cost of doing business.
Sure.
They don't hire graphic designers or website developers or payroll service providers in Arizona.
They don't.
They
That's
don't.
true.
It's all back in their home state, right?
Right.
Whereas, you know, if you looked at all the different independent coffee shops, you know, let's just say we clustered 50 of them together, that's 15 accountants had a gig, had a client, 15 website developers, 15 payroll service providers, et cetera. And that keeps all of us afloat. So when we talk about this thing called the multiplier effect, a lot of times when you read the paper and you talk about jobs, well, they think we're talking about the barista jobs in the coffee shop.
Right.
I'm talking about the business professional jobs too that support the local coffee shop and keep those dollars moving through the local economy. So sometimes people just, and when I say it, you know, I had one young woman in one of my talks,
Yeah.
can you come and teach my economics class, please? And I laugh because a lot of times we just forget, and we just need a simple image to think, oh my gosh, you're right, I never thought of it that way.
Well, there's one of the things that, you know, that did just kind of have a little light go off in my head. I literally drive by, I know at least 2 or 3 local places.
Yes.
And I end up at Starbucks. And it's just kind of out of habit, honestly. Of course, I love the Starbucks coffee, but I've had some amazing coffees, and probably maybe with a little more love, I don't know, maybe. But you know, so that's another tip, is that I think, now we're talking about coffee or the multiplier effect. The multiplier effect can also work for you in your business in the sense of, you know, we don't have to make these huge changes. If we just kind of change something in our life, our path starts kind of going like this, you know, and you don't have to be like this. And then all of a sudden you're kind of going like this, and you do something in your business, your personal life, and it's just a little one, but it gets bigger and bigger over time. So I am going to make an effort, and I'm going to challenge you that I'm going to make an effort to try and go to some of those little local coffee places. I think that's good. It's just a small thing, but I think it really will help support each other.
That's
right.
right.
So I love that.
That's right. You know, we ran an entire campaign at Local First called the 10% Shift. And it was based on a study that showed if everyone in a community the size of Tucson, 600,000 people,
Right.
if everyone there could shift just 10% of their spending from a national to a local company, it would create $130 million new dollars recirculating in that economy and 1,600 brand new jobs. Just for a 10% shift.
10% shift.
Yeah, and so that means if you
Okay,
spend...
I don't buy that much Starbucks, but it's a start. It's a
That's
start.
right. If you spend 30% locally, I want
Right.
you to get to 40%. And again, nobody's a bad one. There's nothing bad about it. It's just being mindful of the things that you do. Hey, I could do that. You know, you're already way out of the gate because your banking is local, right?
Right.
But and even understanding different structures of businesses and getting people to think about what's local, what's national, you know, what's a chain, what's the difference between a chain and a franchise.
Right.
We've just elevated this whole conversation for folks to be thinking, and it actually really does matter for Arizona's economy in the long run.
Right, and for all of our economies as women business owners, just making some of those slight shifts help all of us. And back to your point about having relationships and building relationships, if I support your business, I'm definitely going to be getting some music from you over there. That sounds great.
Right.
Do you have vinyl too?
Of course. We have record players and new vinyl and old vinyl, and it's a
I
huge.
love that idea.
My favorite is the bin with like the new and the old, all the used stuff, because we'll get 3 generations in there arguing about what is real music.
What is real music?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, all of a sudden now, we're making a relationship and we're going to do some things together, and you've given me some great tips. And if we all kind of help each other, and that's really what this group is formed to do, is to help all of us. We're obviously focused on women business owners and women in general, multi-generations of women, and this is a special part of it, I think. There are so many women that are starting businesses. I think I heard a statistic like we are starting the most new businesses.
Oh, we are, yeah, and Latinas especially.
And Latinas.
But yes.
Oh, I love that too.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. There's really a boom happening across the country of women that are starting. For example, we run an incubator kitchen out in Mesa, where we're incubating about 32 food enterprises at a time. And about 75% of them are women. And so they're catering companies, food trucks, all kinds of wonderful businesses being developed out of there. And it's wonderful. It's really inspiring to see. So it might be somebody that is doing a dessert that starts, gets picked up by a grocery store. You ever see the fancy cakes in the grocery store? They may be buying those from elsewhere. Or, if you go into a coffee shop that's local and they have a variety of boutique desserts that are available in there. A lot of times they're outsourcing those.
Oh yeah, they're not making them in the back room.
They may not be. Some may, but many not. So, we're incubating those businesses, and they do. There's all kinds of camaraderie in the kitchen. It's beautiful.
Well, I think women are the most creative creatures on earth.
Yes.
And you need a lot of that to start a business. And the other thing I think that's really interesting is that we have, with the multi-generations, like I'm talking to you about vinyl, probably my daughter who's out there, hopefully Mackenzie, you're there watching. She'd be going like, she does the, the downloads of the music and all that. And you're talking about selling your products on Facebook or doing these sorts of things. I think we can all just help each other do these things. So please send in great ideas and things you also would either like to share or like to hear about. I put my glasses on because I got to make sure I ask you this question, Kimber. Kimber's such a great person for this interview. Oh,
thank
hopefully
you.
There's a question in there. She's an incredible businesswoman who has educated so many. Did you pay someone to do this?
No.
Educated so many on the power of buying local, and I love this. This is even more important during this pandemic and the road to recovery. Great statement. Thank you so much. I do agree with that.
That's right. Yeah, the more we can invest in our local businesses, the more money we can get in our community banks. And again, you and I haven't talked before, but I just can't underscore enough how important community banks have been through this crisis. You are committed to Arizona's future, committed to the long-term well-being of Arizona's business community, and it really showed. And I'm just going to name it. In the first round of PPP, so much of that money went into the biggest banks, and they don't do business with small business very well, and that showed. I mean, many don't know, but we came in dead last in terms of PPP dollars and number of loans completed in round 1. Of PPP. Now, in round 2, the feds came in and said, we're going to set aside $60 billion for community banks, credit unions, CDFIs. So in round 2, we came in middle of the pack, 24, 25.
Right, well, I think they saw the responsiveness of the smaller banks.
That's right.
And said, let's push some more dollars down there to them.
That's right.
And unfortunately, and this doesn't, talking about with small business owners, unfortunately, some large dollars went out to some pretty large companies that really didn't need those funds.
They didn't really need it.
And I think that got worked out, and they gave the money back and that sort of thing. But for the government to recognize that it was much more efficient and they were really getting those dollars down to the small business owners through the smaller banks and the community banks and private banks like we have, the advisory group. So I think that's so important. And how much of an impact it really can make. And I know there's always something around holiday too. That's like, isn't there like local
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
Day or holiday.
Oh, yeah, we have all
Because they have
kinds
like
of
Black
things.
Friday, where and then there's online.
Well,
and then
American
there's-
Express started Small Business Saturday, but we celebrate Indie Week, which we have a whole week of people supporting locally owned businesses, and then we have the whole Buy Local campaign that we run throughout the holiday season, just as a constant reminder. We're also, I did want to mention, we're getting ready to launch a new website that's called the Shop Arizona Marketplace, Shop AZ Marketplace.
Oh, that's great.
And so the concept is, in one place, you'll be able to hit 10 cool businesses, or however many, but hit a bunch of different shops, buy a gift for a wedding, a dog treat, something for your son, all in one purchase. The website is super user-friendly, and then it immediately parses those purchases out to those independent retailers who will then manage the customers. So you can shop from Changing Hands, Kids Stop, the skateboard shop, the dog place, whatever it might be, all in one place for ease
like
of
if
use.
you went out to do your Saturday shop, like I usually will have like a trip I make to do all these things. I kind of plan it out. I know it's probably creepy, but now I can do it like through that website.
You can do it
and
through
go
our
here to get this.
website,
Oh, I need
and-
something for the dog, and
That's
you can
right.
go over here and
Right.
pick out something there. Oh, that's great.
Right, and our goal is to even just shave 1% off of Amazon and keep it in Arizona's economy. But we can do better than that if we all work together.
Yes, let's all do that.
Absolutely. You'll be surprised at all the cool stuff you'll be able to find on there.
How many? Here's another question. How many of these new pivots do you think are permanent or temporary in the way we do business?
My honest opinion is that
Great question.
most of them are going to be permanent.
Yeah.
I just
What
don't
about working
see
from home? A lot of companies,
Yeah.
and that could impact the real estate market too, where you have large companies even that are saying, "Hey, we're going to be working from home," and now that space is empty.
Well, I think it's going to impact the airline industry
Yeah.
for business
Yeah,
travel.
travel.
I think so many companies are not going to go back to in-person meetings. I think it'll be, on the one hand, boom for technology companies that are setting up offices and home offices.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, it's going to ding the airline industry. In terms of retail, if people are now used to spending their money via PayPal or Zelle, they're certainly not going to go back to, well, let me come down there and use my credit card in your store. I mean, I don't think they're ever going back. And I know, in terms of our online presence, it's not like there's going to be a day where we're going to say, well, we're not really going to do online so much anymore. You got to come into the store. I just think they're pretty permanent. People say we need to get back to normal. The way we were, I don't think is ever coming back. And I'm not sounding skeptical. We can still look at the silver lining of where we're headed, but I just don't think we're going to go back.
Well, I think that there'll be a time where we could, but maybe you're right, because we've learned some new ways to work together and interact with clients and do things like that, and shop, internet sales, things like that. I don't see that going back. I mean,
No.
my husband wishes it would, but probably not going to happen.
Right.
I'm on there all hours of the day looking at stuff. For me personally, I love to shop.
Okay.
I really, literally love to shop. I love to go out there and look at things, and I'll go somewhere with my husband, and he's one of those guys that sit in the chairs in the front of the store, because he can look at he'll look at this whole store in about 5-10 minutes. I don't know, and I'm at the first rack still, looking at different things. So I love to do that. I love bargain shopping, but there are a lot of people who don't. But I can do some of that now online, and just the way that they're showing their merchandise and the different views and different things you can get. You can kind of get a feeling for that fun stuff.
I'm chuckling because my store has always been the reverse. Meaning I had to put in a reading area for the women because it's the men.
Men looking
who
through
like
the
to say.
records.
But now I'm next door to Francis Boutique, which is one of the best boutiques in town. So the women go there and the men come to look at music, and it works out perfectly. Everybody's happy.
You know what is another great resource is if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a really great boutique, could they reach out to your group or something, and they could give you a list of things?
Yeah, our website online is
Okay.
localfirstaz.com, and we're in the real time being searched about 60,000 times a month of people looking for local solutions. We have 3,500 or so different types of business members on the website.
Right.
And so, you know, we're a resource for all kinds of businesses. Our goal is to go out and win grants for community and economic development so that we can keep the membership dues, you know, really low. It's like $50 a year or something like that.
That's very
to
reasonable.
be listed in a directory, and then you get access to all the benefits for that.
So
And
if I'm just a consumer and I want to go check that out, I don't have to pay money though, right?
oh gosh, no.
So I just go onto
Yeah.
your website or onto the site and find local businesses.
That's
and I'm
it.
assuming that's anywhere in the country. Everybody has kind of, now I'm sure you have a special group. I don't think they really do exactly what you're doing anywhere in the country. Don't people
No.
call you up and say, how can we get this done
They
or how can we put it
do.
together?
They
Tell us
do.
about that.
So yeah, I started this in 2003. And, you know, I mean, now we
Why
have...
did you start it?
Well, I wanted to, two reasons. I wanted to level the playing field for locally owned businesses. A lot of people don't realize all the sweetheart deals and the subsidies and everything else the big chains get. And I wanted to really just, hey, just can we create a level playing field here?
Right.
And number two, local business plays a key role in connecting people to their place.
Huh.
So, you know, I joke about Chicago. They have so much hometown pride, right? There's all kinds of people from Illinois, and you're probably listening right now. All kinds of people from Illinois that are still in love with Illinois.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like the Cubs just lost for 100 years and didn't
Yeah.
lose a single fan. And meanwhile, the Diamondbacks have a bad inning, and we're like, I don't know if I want to commit, right? So
This one shop in Illinois, I got from a gift from one of my employees. Because we do have some groups in Illinois too. But this toffee is just amazing that a local place makes. So you're right. So like, I just have a thing for that now. I'm like, could you send me another box?
So,
Could I get something like that?
When I do my talks, I remind people of this all the time. And so this is a true story. I was standing in line next to a woman. She was telling me how great Chicago was. And I was kind of doing the internal eye roll because I'm an Arizona girl.
You're like,
Don't tell me again how great
Yeah.
Chicago is. And then she leaned in sort of confidentially, and she lowered her voice and said, boy, you guys sure have made a mess out here in Arizona. And, you know, now I'm bobbing and weaving.
You're like, what?
What? Yeah, these are fighting words. And so I'm thinking, and she said, you guys sure have made a mess. And I said, you don't live here. And she said, no, I live here. I said, oh, you haven't lived here very long? And she said, no, I lived here 15 years. I said, so who the heck is you guys?
Who's you guys?
Like, you live
Yeah,
here
you live
now.
here,
Like,
yeah.
you know, if we have a
Yeah,
problem with
exactly.
our education system, we need to link
Right,
arms
right.
and fix it. So I went out and did my own little interview of everyone I could find from Chicago. I just asked them one question. Tell me why you love Chicago so much. And they all said the same thing in a million different ways, but they said the same thing, the locally owned businesses. They said, I love the chefs and restaurants. In my neighborhood, I used to hop into the booth and they'd say, hey, Steve, you want the regular?
The regular,
you
yeah.
know, and, you know, they said,
Exactly.
I had the same barber for 40 years. They even said things like, I bank at the same bank my great-grandparents banked at.
Yes.
That's the same thing. It is the locally owned business, and that person then relocates from Illinois to Arizona, and they throw that behavior out the window, and they end up at all the big chain. I mean, they would
They
say
do,
things like,
that's right.
yeah, wait, all you guys have is Supercuts. And I was like, that is so
That's not
unfair.
true.
Give me 20 minutes, I'll find you 20 barbers. And they go, really, where? That's what made me realize way back when I started this is we have to do a better job of introducing people to our homegrown companies.
And this is a city where there's so many people that come from other places.
That's it.
It's just the truth, right? And they don't know where to
two-thirds
go
of
or
us
what to
came
do.
from somewhere
Yeah.
else. And so we have to work a little bit harder. It's not like we're in Philly where everybody, you know, there's 5-generation companies.
Right,
We
right.
don't have that. I
We
mean,
don't.
to us, second generation, I mean, if you find a third-generation company, it's like the sirens go off, you know.
Whoa.
Yeah, wow. And second generation
good
is, we
point.
can name them on one hand. And so we really have to work hard to show people what's unique about
Right,
us. You know,
right.
it's like if you have
Yeah, I love
friends
that.
visiting from New York, you're going to take them to our best homegrown chef
Yeah, we
and
should.
restaurant.
We
you
don't
know?
want to go to the local chain.
No.
Because they've got that at their place.
They
So you
got
want to
that-
find the cool
that's
places
right.
here.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have another
Super
question
important.
here. Why do you believe the real estate market in Arizona is growing rapidly? Do you think this is a bubble, or you got to put that up just a little bit, Steph? Or is it because our Arizona something? I can't read the bottom of it. But anyway, we could talk a little bit about why do we think, oh, there we go. Thank you so much. Is it because our Arizona economy is in high demand?
Well,
We
so I
are
think-
seeing a lot of real estate growth.
Yeah, I think there's
Which is
several
good or
different
kind of
things
challenging?
at play. I think there's a lot of different things at play. And that's a difficult question to answer because I fundamentally believe that we need to change our metrics of measuring success. We simply cannot continue to measure Arizona's success on growth. I think it's a sticky widget when you consider climate change, no matter what you think the cause is.
Right.
When you consider climate crisis, water, the weather, whatever it might be, we're just simply not going to be able to sustain the type of growth that they were predicting for a very long time.
Right.
But we are, for right now, we're seeing incredible growth of people moving. They're tired of the weather. They've lost their job. They want to come out west and start anew.
Right.
They've heard we're doing okay, and they're moving in. That combined with, if you look at the studies for affordability, we are tens of thousands, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 units shy of where we need to meet the demand for affordable housing. And we are horribly behind on developing affordably, a family of four that can't afford $3,000 a month to pay for rent. And so that supply demand is driving up the cost, and a lot of people don't realize this is a statewide crisis. It is more expensive to rent in Safford, Arizona right now than it is in Phoenix.
Oh my!
And so another example
People
I'll
have to
give
be
you.
able to afford a place to live,
Right.
And so many of us depend on all of those folks to help us and do things for us and be a part of this economy.
Right.
These small business
That's
owners.
right.
We have to get focused on that.
I mean,
Definitely.
if you look up north, the entire hospitality sector that fuels Sedona, they can't afford to live in Sedona.
Right.
So if
where
you're
do they go?
driving between Sedona and Cottonwood, you're going to see all these Winnebagos along the road. Those aren't campers. Those
are
are
their
people
homes where they're
who are
living?
living there.
Oh, wow.
That is the entire Sedona workforce that is now living remotely. And it's so important that we recognize that it's a crisis. And so don't mistakenly think that it's a boom and we're all going to be okay. Part of what's driving that is the lack of, right? It's the demand that's there around affordability and also urban living. We cannot continue to just build single-family homes in the desert. It's not sustainable.
We have a lot of land out here, but even that is becoming smaller and smaller. And where I live out in the East Valley, it's to get to here, 45 minutes, something like that, each way. So that's just part of the valley. That's not like, oh, I'm going to the next town or far away. We're all kind of together, right?
Yes.
So, so I've got another comment here from Craig this time. Sorry, Jessica, I missed you last time. I had your name. Thank you for the comment and the question. Kimber's a true leader in our community. Where do you get these come in? You're so awesome.
Thank you,
Never-ending commitment to small businesses from Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
You must get that a lot, not just on this.
Well, I'm very passionate about it. I grew up in a small business household. It was funny. My family landed in Arizona in 1968, and we really worked hard to get to know Arizona's business community, and I give my mother all the credit for that. By the time I was 10, I had visited 10 Arizona lakes. She drove us all around. I thought everybody knew all the B&B owners across Arizona. No, it's just that she was introducing it. I mean, we stayed at the Briar Patch in Sedona, at the Greer Lodge. I mean, I can name all these places. And it turns out she was building a network of small business owners because that's what she grew up with and that's what she knew. So,
great. Thank you so much, Kimber. We're going to have to wrap up. But
you bet.
Because this is Pivoting in Heels Happy Hour, we're going to have a little toast
all
here.
All right, Arizona wine.
Trust Bank Building Prosperity.
We're going to show the Trust Bank.
Our shameless plug. I am a business person too. Trust Bank Building Prosperity. Our Pinot Noir, our Trust Bank one. I hope it's good, but I haven't had one of these before. But I wanted to say thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
It has added so much to, I think, our conversation. And we want to just go ahead and make sure that everybody continues to have that conversation and go to your website. What's your website again?
Localfirstaz.com.
Localfirstaz.com, and shop there and support our local business owners. So 17 years of making Arizona wonderful.
That's right.
So we just want to invite you to go to some of our resources too. Contact us or email us with anything or any way you want to get involved. We have a email which is called asksandy@tbaz.com, and you can, if you go there, we have a wonderful piece for you that we give to all of our members and everybody who joins us about women and money and taking control of your finances,
So
and how to
important.
help you and what are the top things you need to know. So send that to us and we'll make sure we send that out to you. And then also you can send in any questions or any thoughts. I think we're going to be sending out maybe a little survey, and hopefully you'll participate in that, because we want these to be about things that you want, or if you think you'd be a great speaker or you know somebody who's a great speaker or guest we should have on. Please let us know, because this is all to help and benefit all of us. But we will be having an early December one, and we have a great speaker that is from a very large firm. Sorry about that, but a CPA. And but I think this could reach everybody. As you know, what's the impact of the election? And how are we all going to position our businesses, our own personal finances, or our philanthropy or trust or anything like that, maybe before the end of the year? Or there's some steps you could take to maximize your deductions as a business or as an individual. So I think that'd be terrific. So anyway, I hope you join us. Watch for that to come out. And again, cheers to you, Kimber.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thanks for
you.
joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.